Happy Sunday, PLC leaders. I thought I would put together a little screencast. That way you all could feel comfortable with what you're leading tomorrow for Unicorn X Part 2. So at the time of 8:45 until 11 o'clock tomorrow, you all will be leading your PLCs through a protocol for PLC storylines and also PLC goal setting. So going along to PLC storylines, each of you all have different storylines that you've been working on in your PLC. So this is an example. I know that the History PLC has been working on thinking about sharpening the axe. And so maybe they want to continue that storyline, or maybe it's time for your PLC to have a completely fresh storyline. That's totally okay. So just working through what story are we telling in our classes with your PLC, and then putting together a slide right below this protocol that has your storyline. So you can see here, this is just an example I put together. Sean by no means feel pressure to use this at all, but just Abraham Lincoln on a bike there, sharpening the axe. That was the storyline for History PLC. So then throughout that process, after you all are talking about discussing what story we're telling in our PLC, what storyline we want to carry through in our classes. So this storyline should be evident from class to class to class. I know that the Science PLC had rock, paper, scissors. The History PLC had sharpening the axe. So just kind of thinking about the storyline that we're using in our classes. The next step that you'll lead your PLCs through is thinking about goal setting. So each of you all have different areas where you'll need to set goals for focus and conversation. So I know that history, they are looking at the reading IA, maybe setting a goal for that, the ACT reading portion, citizenship exam, and then of course their AP classes. So if you want some baseline data to base that off of, if you scroll up, actually scroll down to the PLC, MDC, if you click on IA data, that will take you to a presentation called the Hedgehog Dashboard. So on the Hedgehog Dashboard, you will see that there is historical data for ACT and for IAs, and you can use that to base information off of when you're setting your goals with your PLC. So those goals should be put just straight on that storyline slide. I put an example of a 20. Again, Sean, don't feel like you have to keep that. That was just an example for you guys for the screencast. So once you step through the goal setting process and the branding process and the storyline process, then it'll be time to look at the MDC. So we talked about last week a few things that we could do to customize the MDC. And for some of you all, you're going to need to do just that, customize the MDC. So I know, Tori, you said that you want a flexibility to make it your own space. I say go for it. You by all means do not have to keep this format for your MDC. You can move things around, you can move the picture, change it, colors, anything that you need to, as long as it has the core concepts, which I'm going to walk you guys through. So when you're working with your PLCs tomorrow, the first thing you'll do is think about who you all are at your best. So ideas for that or examples would be creative, open-minded, etc. Then think about how we care for one another. So maybe that's accountability, maybe it's ownership, maybe it's I'm thinking about Lori and Maddie right now, maybe it's a piece of chocolate pie or something, whatever that looks like for you guys to care for one another. So you will walk through that process with your PLCs tomorrow. The next step is this timeline here. So we talked about making sure that we're staying focused on UFO tuning protocols and making sure we're staying focused on what we're asking our students to do. But this is also a spot to customize. So I will say you all have different things going on in your PLC, but you need to have at least 2 people presenting what their UFOs are in the quarter one. So some of you all, it may look like because you have a larger PLC, maybe that's all you're doing. Maybe you're following exactly this. Sean, I know you said you liked to have that kind of prescribed to you. You're more than welcome to use that. Some of you all, like Ruchi, you might need to change a couple things. Or wellness, you might need to change a couple things to fit with your narrative. So Ruchi, you had a great idea to add an action step part. We've added that on there as well. So again, feel free to add anything that you all need to this MDC to fit your all steps. So Alex, you had a question about how do we use this area for UFOs and for student work? What does that look like? What are we supposed to put in that box? So that is really a spot for shared learning from the tuning protocols. So when you are leading your PLC, through a UFO tuning protocol. This protocol right here, and PLC leaders, you should be prepared to lead this process week 2 and start with your own, knowing that it might not be finished, but it'll be something to get your PLC started to think about. This is a spot to put that shared learning and shared thinking in. So maybe you all are walking through the Unicorn Flight Opportunity Protocol and you're realizing like, oh, this is authentic, but there's opportunities to invest community in it. That would be a spot for you to write that down. Any takeaways from that conversation? That's what this space is for. Quarter 2, when we start to look at student work, that's when that will be identified and worked on. Let's see here. Bolka, you had a comment about thinking about writing IA impact. I think that's a great idea. I think that takes some further collaboration with Randy to think about how we're looking at that data, how we're using it, what it's really telling us, and thinking about just beyond the number, how we're looking to apply that. So great idea. That's something we need to work on. See here, Ruchi and Leslie, you all had a question about changing this IA data part to something that maybe fits the arts portfolio or the wellness portfolio. I say go for it. It makes sense. It'll help you guys stay focused on that. That sounds like a great place to start with you all. So once you walk your PLC through this MDC and you customize it how you need to, knowing that at our best needs to be there, care for one another needs to be there, you need to have some sort of timeline and next action steps on there. UFOs need to be on there and student work needs to be on there. This bottom part can be modified if you are not focusing on IA. So core content, you'll probably need to have this IA. If you want to move around the boxes, go for it. If you want to change a picture, go for it. I say customize it, make it your own, make art with that. So once your PLC walks through this MDC, you are going to scroll up and you're going to link your MDC onto your content area, and then you're going to find a unicorn icon to put right next to that you feel like fits your PLC. So you could have a dabbing unicorn, you could have a dog unicorn, whatever you feel like fits your MDC and your all's personality. You'll put that icon right next to the name of your content area. So that'll be the morning part of tomorrow. And then in the afternoon part, you all will have time to work on your Leader Week creative directing. So we talked last time about what each area was doing. So again, the morning, thinking about storylines. The afternoon, thinking about creative directing for a Leader Week. So scrolling down here, looks like science, you are doing connect. English, you're doing care. Math, you're doing create. History, you are doing community supplements and discipline documents. So that will be for the afternoon session on Monday. On Tuesday, it looks like a lot of creative directing for you all to work independently on the beginning Astra Oil. So that's what the events look like for tomorrow. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll send an email out to everyone this afternoon so that they have access to the agenda as well. Feel free to contact me on my phone or email with any questions you have. Thanks so much for leading. You all play such an important role in our PLC and instructional work. And enjoy your Sunday.